Good morning. Welcome to Robinson, Illinois. All you Portland people, you're outnumbered now, so you have to be nice. Look, we're really happy to be here today. Look, we've talked about this. Player retention is huge for us. It's a big part of the organization, having consistency and stability. And, having Meyers, who is our first draft pick, sign on long term is a great situation for us. And we know he's got a great future ahead. He's going to continue to develop. He's already contributed a lot to the organization. He's a joy to have around here. And for myself, Paul, Chris, we're all happy he's going to be a part of the organization for the foreseeable future. So with that, I will let you beat up Meyers.
Questions?
How are you physically, Meyers?
I'm feeling pretty good physically. My left shoulder, obviously, is the main issue here. I have been very diligent in my rehab, and it's progressed very well. I am almost a full range of motion. Today we added an extra 10 degrees back, so that's a very big, I guess, milestone for me. I'm starting to do pull-ups, a lot of body weight stuff, and introducing more in the weight room. So I'm very excited with where my shoulder is at. As far as everything else goes, I feel good. I'm getting my wind back. I'm back on the court, which for me was extremely difficult being away for that long, not being able to shoot the ball, and everything like that was difficult. So I feel good physically. I've been able to work on a lot of different things in the weight room, especially my legs and my core strength. That's the thing that I needed the most, battle in the post, rebounding position, things of that nature. So really been working hard in the weight room and getting after it in every way I could and can to get myself ready for this coming season.
When do you think you'll physically be able to return? Like, will you be able to play in training camp or?
Full contact 5-on-5. My hope is to be ready right around the start of the regular season, which is obviously, I believe, November 1st or whenever the first game might be. Again, it's a progression. First introducing, rebounding and grabbing stuff overhead to one-on-one, 3-on-3, extending to full court. And, we'll see. You just never know. Once you get the full range of motion back, which I'm getting close, then you start to introduce more in the weight room. You progress with more weights, more force. And, you do what you can to continue to improve the shoulder, improve the body, and get all your, functional movement back. And so we'll see. But I'm very excited about this coming year. Just have to get healthy, completely healthy.
How does it feel to have this done, have this weight off your shoulder, and know you're going to be here?
With the contract?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very exciting. Like Neil mentioned, the feelings are mutual. I have enjoyed all 4 years here so far. It's, again, been a progression for sure. I come in as a 20-year-old, wide-eyed, not really know what's going on, and now all of a sudden, I know that I've been a factor, and I know I can play. And now it's really time to take that next step, and I feel like I'm really getting there. Obviously with the shoulder, that was a bit of a setback, but throughout parts of last year, I could really feel myself starting to come into my own and really be more consistent. And so the main thing now for me is turning the corner mentally, and I have really tried to set myself apart in that way, and waking up every morning working on my mindset. I had family and friends over late last night, and I was up at 5:45 ready to go. I got to admit it wasn't easy when that alarm went off this morning, but I have to be very dedicated to what I'm doing with my mindset, with my body, and getting prepared to help this team, because we have a really exciting future ahead of us.
Meyers, Ezeli was signed, and there's a lot of bigs on the roster.
Sure.
You're not a guard. Talking to the team, and where do you feel you still fit in, and was that a concern at all that there were so many bigs on the roster?
No, absolutely not. In fact, it's good to have a deep roster. And I feel that I bring something way different than the average player, the average big brings. Obviously the main one being shooting, space on the floor. But I continue to develop on the defensive end with my rebounding, being more aggressive, understanding the game much better, and just allowing the game to slow down. As you gain in-game experience, and you continue to develop chemistry within this group. And this young group, obviously, we surprise a lot of people. You go from 26.5 games to going to the playoffs, getting the second round. And, as I sat there during the playoffs, it was hard for me. One, because when we were losing, I knew I could be helping. And when we won, I wanted to be a part of it. So it's there's a hunger inside of me, and I'm excited for what I can bring to this team.
Any trepidation in the offseason with the shoulder and with just looking for a contract? You're a guy that wants to be here, wanted to be here. Did you ever have thoughts that, well, maybe I look somewhere else?
Oh, well, you know, obviously when it comes to free agency, you talk to other teams. You know, you try to gain interest. But my main focus was to be back here in Portland. You know, I've spent all 4 years here. Neil has been my, you know, the guy that's backed me since the beginning. You know, I truly believe watching him from, you know, the outside, just as a player, he can understand talent, he can understand the future, and, you know, I appreciate that he believes in me. I believe the coaching staff has a firm belief that I can really do a lot of good things, and I can continue to develop and become a much better player, which I know I will as well. And not only that, but my teammates. You know, I've been here with Dame all 4 years, Alan, CJ, all the young guys, and, you know, now that we add more and more pieces, I'm excited, and I know I can really be a big piece of this puzzle because, again, this is going to be an exciting time for the Trailblazers.
Myers, does it feel at all like I guess the table is set in some respect? Because, I mean, a bunch of guys were free agents this year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the year before that, roster turned over quite a bit. Guys are under contract now. It seems the roster seems to be pretty much set as it is right now. Does that have a different feeling to it at all? I mean, obviously you haven't started the season, but just knowing that these are the guys.
Yeah, I think that helps a little bit. You know, last year coming to the season, you know, I guess there were probably a lot of question marks. People were, I don't know, nervous, not quite understanding of what was going on. But you know, we got together in San Diego. Everyone was here a month early. You know, we've all talked about it, but we developed chemistry early in the summer, and guys were here every day. You know, we compete, got after it. May not have liked them while you're in between the lines, but as soon as we walked in the locker room, we're all friends. Going out to dinner, doing different things on the road. You know, it was big time. You know, we really became a cohesive unit, and I believe now that it's more, like you're saying, structured and set as we enter the beginning stages of this summer, and now summer league's done, and you know, now more and more guys, I believe, will start to be here in Portland more often, and you know, again, this is going to be an exciting time.
What do you like, for both of you gentlemen, what do you like about the roster now that it's almost locked?
You're the one that has to play with them.
You know, obviously, we have a lot of very talented pieces, Joe. You know, you start with Damian and CJ, obviously two of the, you know, best young guards in the league. You know, CJ really coming into his own and, you know, exploding last year. Damian, you know, multi-year All-Star, et cetera. We all know about Dame. And not only that, but a lot of young guys. You know, Festus, same class as me. You know, Mason, Ed with some more experience. We got a ton of pieces, signing Evan on, bringing Allen back. You know, again, it's Neil's job to put the pieces together and try to understand what we can do, but then it's the players' job to, again, become more cohesive, have better chemistry, and start to fit it together early in the summer. You know, hopefully, like we did last summer, do the same thing this summer and really come to this year strong. You know, again, a lot of doubters before last season, certainly not trying to set any type of crazy expectation, but I believe that we're going to be a very good team.
You know, look, we came into the summer, we talk about the depth of the roster, and, you know, there's probably some redundancy. But this was going to be the last year we were going to have cap room for the foreseeable future. You know, once we took care of this group, you know, we were always, you know, last year it was the fork in the road with the veterans, and we had to choose a path. And what we wanted was a model of young guys whose rights we controlled, who wanted to be here, that could be a part of what you guys are talking about now, which hopefully a set roster that can now grow together instead of, you know, and now we're just into the tinkering and playing in the margins. So, you know, I feel good about it. I think we maximized our cap room. We had some holes, maybe not positionally, but in terms of skill set that we identified, and we were able to, you know, do, I think, a pretty admirable job in free agency with 20 teams having more than at least one max slot. It was a very competitive market. It was definitely a seller's market for agents. You know, and I think we went out and we identified some needs. We filled those needs, some very early in the process, some a little bit later, where we were able to kind of maximize our cap room. But, you know, I feel good about it. I think, you know, as a coach, I think what you always want to have is answers. And I think right now we present a lot of problems for teams, and we have a lot of answers for teams. So, you know, it's Terry's job to kind of mix and match and figure out where we're best as far as attacking other rosters. But, you know, I think we have a lot of solutions to some problems we faced last year, and I think a lot of it's going to be the growth. You know, again, we saw the growth of CJ last year. We saw the growth of Alan Crabb. Myers was tracking up, you know, pre-injury. Now we have some more young guys, and it's their turn to kind of take a step and push the guys that are ahead of them. So I think staying together, you know, growing, having it be sustainable, and having guys that I can't keep saying this stuff, that want to be here, that want to be important. Myers wanted to be here. AC is thrilled to be back. We'll talk about that next. guys that have chosen to live in Portland, believe in what we're doing as a basketball organization, believe in the city and how the city embraces this team is what we want, and we feel like intrinsically that allows them to compete at a higher level.
Can you talk about the growth and development you've seen from Meyers since he first came in the league?
Look, in terms of skill set, I mean, Meyers always had great touch. He's obviously extended his range. He works incredibly hard on it. Quite honestly, we have some guys in this roster, Meyers included, that hadn't played much. It's, when you look at, Meyers ended up, he didn't play much as a freshman. Sophomore year, he played. He gets drafted in the lottery. And, he had 1 year of kind of a rebuild. And the next, we're on a 54-win pace. So, what everyone forgets is for guys like, C.J. McCollum, Allen Crabbe, Meyers Leonard, this was a harder roster to get minutes on than where they were drafted. These guys were drafted in the lottery, but they weren't really playing on a lottery-level team. We brought Robin in year 2. So, I think it's been admirable what Meyers has done, that he's continued to develop and work. And we've talked about this. Not all development happens in front of everybody's eyes. It happens out there. It happens with the coaching staff and in the weight room. I think, look, the biggest jump for Meyers is he can be incredibly unique in this league with his ability to stretch the floor, pass, play away from the basket offensively. But he's probably our most gifted physical defender in the post. We've seen that against guys like DeMarcus Cousins. We've seen him battle guys like Steven Adams. And quite honestly, it was missed to a great deal in the playoffs when we had to go up against the guys like Andrew Bogut and DeAndre Jordan, that we didn't have a physical comparable, to go against those guys. And I think when Meyers' shoulder gets healthy, he's just growing into being a man. There's such a thing as there's only so much the weight room can do, and then you age into man strength. And we see this around the league. Look at some of the bigs that got deals this summer. They were late bloomers. Bigs take longer to develop. But a lot of it is the physicality that you just can't do as much with them because they're not fully formed the way that maybe a guard would be. So I think that's the biggest jump for Meyers, is his willingness to play a more physical brand on one end of the floor while still possessing all the skills and finesse on the other.
Neil, you talked about this a little bit, but is there some comfort knowing that you have your first 2 draft picks here locked up now, long term, some continuity?
I do, and it's been a really good ride. I mean, these guys have been through a lot, for young guys, right? I mean, they joined a new front office, a new president on the business side. We've got an aggressive owner. Things turned over with their first year, and then the veterans that were here with them, that were kind of showing them the way, we chose to go in another direction. So a lot has been heaped on guys like Meyers and Dame culturally. And what Meyers talked about earlier about guys being here in September, going to San Diego, to work out together, that was something we put in year 1. Nothing about the previous group, but guys would disappear all summer and show up for camp. And that's not what we wanted. And what we said was we needed Meyers and Dame to buy into that day 1, knowing 4 or 5 years later, the newcomers would just understand, well, that's how they do things here. And if it's good enough, Meyers lives here full time, Dame, CJ. Our best players live in Portland full time. They're in this facility working out all summer. So when you sign an Evan Turner or a Festus Ezeli or bring in a guy like Shabazz Napier or make a trade, they don't know anything other than, hey, around Labor Day, we're all back, we're all working out together, we're bonding, we're in the gym together, we're playing pickup, we're working out, which is why we got off to a really nice start last year, because we were able to accelerate things by having the guys around here. And that culture wasn't built last summer in San Diego. That culture was built 4 years ago by drafting high character guys like Meyers and Dame and, Will Barton, who unfortunately is not with us anymore, but he was another guy that was a gym rat that was going to be a part of it. And like I said, it makes our transition with new players and Terry's transition easier because these guys set the tone for how we do things in Portland. And it doesn't have to be explained or negotiated. It's just how they are.
Meyers, did you ever even have serious talks with any other teams, or was it sort of more feelers and it was a foregone conclusion you were coming back here?
It was more feelers, to be honest. Again, I wanted to be here. I love the city, love the organization. Again, they've backed me. And I wanted to continue to grow with the team. Again, I think I bring something unique. I think that this team's absolutely going in the right direction. And so, to be a part of that, and again, having that feeling of not playing in the playoffs last year was tough on me. And, again, great fans, great city. And, the ultimate goal is to be back here to continue to grow, like I said. And, I'm just excited. That's it. That's all I can say. It's very bright.
Myers, back on when you were drafted here, you met Dame on the court and you guys talked.
Yeah.
Did any of that conversation include we're going to be here for a decade together?
No, I don't think so. But you know, it was just here. We both, again, people may know the story, may not. We both show up, just happen to be here. Shot around, talked for, I don't know, an hour, maybe an hour plus, and just, talked about our backgrounds, talked about where we came from, where we went to school, how we enjoyed school, what we studied. I mean, all the random things just to get to know each other. And, Dame, what I always talk about when people ask about our team is it starts at the top. And, it starts with Terry, coaching staff, but then, obviously it comes down to the players. And Dame's our leader. He's the all-star. He's the guy really, pushing us forward. And, he expects a lot from everybody. And it starts with him. And like Neil said, establishing a culture, having the guys who are coming into the city, or, joining the team, understanding, what to bring to the table every day, kind of the way you present yourself as you walk through the doors here and as you're out in the community. It's important. That's one thing I try to pride myself on, is being a very good person. If you're not, people aren't going to like to be around you. Negativity, the whole 9 yards. I can't stand it. So, it's very neat and cool that we've established it. And, I truly believe that I'm a big piece of it, and that we'll continue to grow in the right direction.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll wrap it up there. We'll take a short break, and then we'll come back with Alan Crabb at 11:30.